Welcome to Recap Movie Explained. I will pour filthy dirt upon you, render you vile, and make you a spectacle. The Bible says in Nahum 3:6, and this is how the movie begins. The first image displayed is a bleeding chimpanzee stumbling about a disorganized sitcom set. Later on, this will make sense. At their Hollywood ranch, Haywood's Hollywood horses, Otis Haywood Sr., and his son, Otis Jr., also known as OJ, start their days by caring for the horses. The inexplicable disappearance of two hikers is mentioned on the radio in the background. Screams can be heard coming from the sky, and when a coin enters Otis' shrine, as it kills him. Without success, OJ tries to get him to the hospital. OJ discovers a key impaled into one of the horses after returning to the ranch. The first motion image to feature a black guy riding a horse is zoomed in after the opening titles and a green square. OJ waits for his sister Emerald, referred to as M, on a movie set 6 months after the incident because one of their horses, Lucky, will be used in a commercial being shot by cinematographer Antlers Holst. Emerald quickly shows up and assists with explaining the safety measures of filming with Lucky, while also pointing out that the black man riding the horse in the first movie is her and OJ's great-great-great-grandpa. The horse retaliates aggressively as a result of the staff's disrespect for its boundaries and disregard for them. The Haywoods are let go from the production, and Lucky is replaced with a VFX horse. As the ranch is having financial difficulties, the Haywoods decide to sell Lucky, the ranch's 11th horse, to Ricky Jupe Park, a former child actor and owner of the Western-themed amusement park Jupiter's Claim. Jupe describes a traumatic incident from his early acting career, when a chimpanzee actor went crazy on the set of the comedy Gordy's Home, and in it, hears OJ describe it as massive and quick. The following day, the two purchase a number of cameras from Fry's Electronics with the intention of becoming famous through the footage. Employee Angel Torres informs them that he will assist them in setting up the cameras and speculates that the Haywoods may be in a UFO hotspot. Later, he makes a trip to the ranch to achieve this, sharing his viewpoint on aliens along the way. After a brief absence, M returns with a display horse that she had stolen from Jupiter's Claim with the intention of using it as bait. Later, Jupe shows up at the ranch to ask him about the show horse, but M manages to get away with it thanks to her bluff. Jupe makes an attempt to invite the Haywoods to an event, but the Haywoods steal his flyer. The decoy horse and the cameras are set up that evening. OJ realizes that Clover, a different horse, was let out. Then he runs into what appear to be several aliens. OJ slaps one of them in the face when it sneaks up behind him, only to discover that it was a youngster. The aliens are actually Jupe's kids teasing him for taking their dummy horse, it is discovered. Later, as OJ attempts to locate Clover, a UFO appears and swallows up the decoy horse, which becomes stuck and forces Clover to flee. Angel informs M that the UFO is in the clouds while Angel is surreptitiously watching their cameras at Fry's, and M yells for OJ to run. OJ successfully hides himself, but he sees Clover being pulled up along with him. They are unable to obtain the necessary footage because a praying mantis obscured the view of a camera that remained operational and was unaffected by the UFO. M tells OJ that they need to leave, but he convinces her to stay and carry out the plan by saying that there is more going on here than they realize. The following day, Angel shows up at the ranch once more and explains that he went back through their tape and discovered a cloud that never changes, which may be the UFO's lair. Antlers refuses to join them when M tries to convince him to do so, saying that they will never awaken from their dream of fame. OJ questions whether the UFO isn't a spacecraft. It is the year 1998. In the Gordy's birthday episode of the sitcom Gordy's Home, young Jupe and his co-stars perform. The balloons start popping during a scenario where they are released into the room, startling the chimpanzee who is Gordy and causing him to lose control and attack the human actors. Jupe hides beneath a table and watches as fellow co-stars Mary Jo Elliott and Tom Bogan are attacked by the chimp, who then calms down after concluding the attacks. He also notices a shoe standing up on its own, which he would later exhibit. The chimpanzee approaches Jupe after spotting him and asks him in sign language what happened to the family. The chimpanzee extends his hand for the pair's recognizable fist. Jupe considers the massacre as she is back in the present. He is inspired to prepare by his wife Amber, who also assists him in memorizing his lines for an impending performance. The strategy is put into action the next day, but when Jean Jacket turns it off, Ryder Bridge, a TMZ reporter, intrudes and tumbles from his motorcycle. OJ tries to save Ryder, but when Jean Jacket shows up, he is forced to leave him to perish. OJ successfully lures the extraterrestrial, assisting Antlers in getting video. Antlers, however, decides that the world is unworthy of the footage, and he allows himself to be killed by Jean Jacket, erasing the recording in the process. After M and Angel escape Jean Jacket's attacks, it begins to take the shape of a massive jellyfish. M and OJ exchange salutes before the former drives towards Jupiter's claim on Ryder's motorcycle, while the latter lures Jean Jacket away. When M gets to Jupiter's claim, she untethers the park's enormous balloon mascot and uses the analog camera attraction Winkin-Well to take a picture of Jean Jacket devouring the balloon mascot. After roaring in victory as the balloon and Jean Jacket detonate, M finds a place to rest next to the Winkin-Well. M gets to her feet as reporters start to arrive, closes her eyes, and then opens them to see OJ riding